What is the most genius way to cheat on an exam you have ever seen? Most of the time I didn't see it. I only saw the times people got caught. For me it was when online classes started being a thing. Professor told us the system would check if you had the notes open in another tab and would auto-close any of the same instance of the notes so you couldn't have the notes and the test open at the same time. It actually did close the other tabs, windows, to my surprise. Nothing stopped me from copying all of the class content into a Word document. After enough of that I realized I could have the test open in Explorer and have the notes open in Firefox. Lol, you could even just use an entirely separate computer. Why just one computer when you could use two? The best place to hide things is right in plain sight. We had old desks that had all sorts of wear on them, so I simply wrote what I needed on my desk really lightly with a pencil. You could even erase it with a swipe of your hand if the teacher thought something was up. I did this once for a math final I wasn't very confident with. He gave us 10 minutes of study time and left the room to go do something, so I wrote a few formulas on my desk out of my notes. Those kinds of tests have always bugged me. If that's cheating, then I cheat on all the math I do at work. Math isn't memorizing the equation, it's knowing when to use it. This is the opposite of what the op asks, but I found it hilarious. So LLL Share. I'm taking a CCNA course at a tech college. All the exams are taken from the online course. No surprise. The answers are available online on different websites. One student in my class decided to print out these answers, except he printed them to the instructor's printer. To be fair, printers are evil. It probably did that on purpose. Teacher told me this one. This kid was one of those kids who hardly showed up to class, so it was a surprise he showed up for the final. The kid asked to put down the window at the beginning of class because it was warm in the room, so my professor let him. The kid scribbled on his paper for 30 minutes and then asked to go to the bathroom, which my professor allowed. The kid came back and finished the test and then left. The twist in all of this: the kid had dropped a copy of the test out of the window to his friend down below, who went to the lounge and took the exam. They then met up in the bathroom and the kid took the test from his friend and went back to class, wrote his name on it and then turned it in. The only fault in this plan was that another professor happened to be looking in that direction as soon as the test was dropped out of the window, and proceeded to foil the whole plan. Damn, we aren't even allowed to leave the room when taking quizzes in high school without fully turning it, meaning you're done. Can't change anything. I know, right? But one time during my pre-calculus 10 test I really had to take a big piss, and was really surprised when my teacher let me do so. I think it may have had to do with me squirming around in my seat for 30 minutes. I had a case of urgent literally 15 minutes into our organic chemistry class. I held it in for 10 more minutes. My hand balled up in fists, forehead dripping with sweat, just trying my best to hold the goddamn storm. After that self-induced torture, I accepted that it's better to fail an exam than to my pants in an auditorium full of students. I stood up to turn my paper in, and told the professor that I had a toilet emergency. She was kind enough to let me come back and finish the test. I think that's the most intense exam I have ever taken. I forgot to write a huge paper in college, so I wrote just one page and printed it 20 times. I handed it in and over the weekend finished the assignment. The next week the professor asked what happened and I said it must have been a mistake with the printer. He said that's alright. Just print him out the full thing and bring it next class. I got an extra week with no penalty. Back in '99 or so, when scientific calculators were new-ish, I think, I got my own rather than use the school ones. They would check our pockets and our stuff to make sure we didn't have a cheat sheet. They would check our calculators to make sure we didn't have anything written. However, I had a cheat sheet on paper, on the inside of the calculator's cover, which fit behind. So I showed my screen and that it was blank, but no one removed the lid. So I had to slide up the lid about an inch, and had written everything down as tiny as I could. Cheated and got away with it. Freshman in high school. This has never failed me. Junior in high school. This has never failed me. Sophomore in high school. Never thought to try this. Freshman in college. It's never failed me, my dude. For some reason a school had the French test take place on a computer and the browser that was installed was Chrome, and Chrome has an auto-translate feature. I think you mean Le Navigateur installé à type Chrome. Or not. I used Google Translate, so who knows. Edit. If only I'd studied in my French classes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Source. Baguette. Had a buddy take an online course. Wrote to the company that did the book materials for the course saying he was a professor and wanted to use their materials for the course. They sent him all the answers and such. Brilliant. Frankly, if you get the textbooks for free, then this is the most genius answer of all. I mean, makes sense, professors would get books free. Sending a professor a free teacher's edition means that every student needs to buy that book. Give up one free, sell a couple hundred more. 2020. Higher education class material sales plummet as the number of professors skyrocket from out of nowhere. That reminds me of the fact that during Prohibition, since wine was allowed to be purchased for religious functions, by the 1930s there were more registered rabbis in California than there were Jews in the entire state. We are all rabbis on this blessed day. I have a full tattoo sleeve on my right arm and both of my hands done. When I had an upcoming test I hadn't studied for, I would write little keywords to make myself remember things inside my tattoos, and I'd write them in a similar color to the ink so unless you were looking insanely close you couldn't see them. Also, in high school my buddy and I had a system where he would signal what question he needed help with and then I would hold up 1 to 4 fingers for AD. Mom, I know I'm only a freshman in high school, but I really need to pass geometry. On an online exam, I saw someone take the whole exam without even touching his computer. The mouse was moving and everything. Turns out he set up a remote desktop and had someone take it from home. Amazing. And if the teacher found out, he could have just said he was moving the mouse with telekinesis. Completely foolproof. A girl I know wrote all the answers on her thigh, then wore tights to the exam. When she stretched the tights she could see the answers but then let it go and cover it up. Sees girl stretching thighs frantically, nothing weird going on here. I mean, no teacher could get away with asking her to remove her tights. You underestimate a teacher's dedication.